And we are live with episode
Dude,
131 of the Start Build Growth Show. Rams,
dude,
man. John, what up? It's episode 131. We weren't
this
gonna
is
go live.
awesome.
That was kind of the plan. We were gonna skip it, right? It's
Right.
Christmas, it's holidays, and we know it's been a rough year for people, but man, there is tons to celebrate. And we brought in, man, one of the biggest guys, the biggest names in the roofing space, Rans. What do you think,
Nah,
dude? I mean,
dude.
we see
I
him
know
everywhere,
we're getting
all over the place,
trumped here, man. This
man.
No,
guy,
no,
one of the hard. What was that in like the showbiz world? John's probably the hardest working guy in roofing.
Yeah, right, dude.
I can't turn on my phone or my email without seeing Mr. John Dye there. So we're blessed to have you join us to take precious time out of your day and life. I know you're hanging out with the family. You're actually in my hood, right? You're in the in
I
the
am, dude.
in the
I
good
am,
old
man.
Rocky Mountains of Colorado and getting ready to enjoy some time with the family. So we're excited. Merry Christmas, everybody. If you're listening on the podcast, if you're joining us live, be sure to say hi, and let us know how you're doing, how you're feeling for Christmas. And make sure to click that like button, click that subscribe button. This is kind of a co-branded deal. Last minute, we brought on John Dye with the American Contractor Show. So if you haven't checked out his show yet, you're probably living under a rock somewhere because he's crushing the game and producing just amazing content, amazing shows. So we're grateful to have you on. Thanks for joining us, my friend.
Dude, thank you guys, man. I'm excited to be here, and it's always fun to be in Colorado. One of my favorite places to come in the country, and always cool when I get to see you guys though, because it's I mean, you guys are the legends, bro. Like Randy Brothers is a legend in
Oh,
my world,
the
dude.
OG,
So
dude.
Thanks,
The
man.
OG, Mr. Randy
that's
Brothers,
right.
man. That
That's
that
right.
he is. So, are you a skier or a snowboarder? Because I know you're out Winter Park. You said you're out at whose condo? You're at Jonathan
I'm at
Sherwood's condo?
Jonathan Sherwood's place this weekend. So he's got a
Yeah.
really cool place here in Winter Park, and he set it up for us. And just so happened that he got a last minute cancellation, and we were looking for a place for Christmas, and it's like, hey, this place opened up, so we jumped all over it. But yeah, dude, it's I'm a skier, man. So
Yeah. How
I
long you
know
been
all the
skiing?
snowboarders. Do what?
How long you been skiing?
So I started skiing when I was 16. So that's been now. No, I was younger than that. I was like 14, and so
Mm,
that's. I mean, it's 20 years ago. I'm 34 now, so 20 years ago
wow.
I started skiing. Yeah.
You
So,
guys watch
but
out
in
for John
Indiana,
Dye on
dude.
the slope. Watch out for John Dye on the slope.
Yeah, if you're out at Keystone or Winter Park somewhere this the next couple of days, yeah, stay out of my way because Indiana skiers, we're not used to the Colorado skiing, so it takes us a minute to get our ski legs in.
Yeah, I
Indiana
figured
Indiana
that.
slopes are crazy though, dude. So my first time skiing, like I went to this place called Perfect North. It's right outside of Cincinnati, and we go there, and it's got like maybe 14 runs. The runs take at a maximum, you're maybe going to spend a minute and a half to get down to the
Yeah.
bottom. So like maybe a little longer, whatever. So I go on this run though, and this guy that had been skiing for years takes me on this ski trip, and so or to this to this place. So he's like, oh, we'll just go up this one hill. It's no big deal, no problem, right? He's like, you've rollerbladed or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I've done that. It's all good. And I'm 14, so I'm like, not scared of anything. So we go up to this hill, and he's just like, okay, just set your skis up straight and go, and just go. So I put my skis out. I'm looking down through this hill, and I'm like, man, this seems a little steep. But, I mean, it doesn't look like it's that hard. I can do this. And literally, that's my first ever run. And it was like a black diamond, like a double black diamond or something, where you're supposed to carve and do all this stuff. And I'm just like going straight. And I got about 3/4 of the way down, tumbled, and got up. My skis are like halfway up the hill. I got to do the whole walk of shame up the hill. And I'm like, I get my stuff. I somehow managed to get down to the bottom. They're all down there just laughing. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this is skiing, right? Like I fell, but it's cool. And they're like, no. Like you just did the hardest hill here. And I was like, no way. And so from then on out, I never did the bunny slopes. I never did any of that stuff. I was never scared again. I was like, this is no big deal. I can do anything now. And so it's kind of a cool lesson though. Like, and this guy was like, he's like at the time he was like the CFO or COO of like a big nationwide restaurant chain that took me skiing for the first time. And so I kind of was wondering, like, was there like a lesson behind that? Like, I'll make you do the hardest thing first, and then you're not scared of anything else the rest of the time. But I don't know if there was. It could have been subliminal.
What do you think? Is there a lesson? Is there a takeaway lesson that we can teach everybody from that, or what do you think?
Jump off and build your wings on your way down.
Yeah, exactly.
Entrepreneurs, hey, if you're not,
that's entrepreneurship, that's right entrepreneurship.
There. You know?
Yep. Listen to the guy with the elf
strap on the skis. Strap on. See, I found it. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Strap on the skis and just go down the hill. You know, figure it out.
Yeah,
right?
That's figure it out on the way down.
That's pure entrepreneurship.
And you'll fail. You'll fall. You'll fall on your face. You'll fail. You'll get back up. You'll do it again, and you won't be as scared the next time. And then everything else seems a lot easier after that. So,
so I thought, there's memes, there's, people posting, everywhere you go, it's like, man, 2020 kicked my butt. I figure we'll start out with some wins. Let's celebrate. Let's get a little jolly, right? So, Randy, John, I'm gonna start with Randy. What was something you got to celebrate with business? The roofing space, whatever it is, man. What were some wins we got, or one big win that we can kind of celebrate and dive into to start with?
Like I'm just sharing in the wins. I'm going through this time of year. As you know, I do roof coaching and consulting, and I work with a number of contractors across the country, and going through like nearly every single contractor, like didn't just grow a little, they grew substantially, like either doubled or tripled or reached like major milestones. So in a year where the world is collapsing and the sky is falling in 2020 and everything's challenging, man, I'm just able to celebrate, my big passion of helping people, and a lot of people that I've been able to work with have executed, they've done the work, and they've managed to substantially grow their business in 2020. So that's the big win for me, man. From a coaching perspective, that's where, that's how you measure. That's how you keep score, is how many people I can help grow their business and build sustainable organizations and build more freedom for themselves and help them create jobs for other people in the industry. So, man, that's the huge win for me.
And I've seen it too. I've got to talk to a lot of these people that, these roofing owners that have grown during one of the weirdest years of all time. So you got to think, if you're able to grow during 2020, you got to be excited about next year. And I'm sure you learned a lot. So John Dye, my friend, what about you, man?
Well, for us, 2020 has been pretty insane. Like, Balance has had a record-breaking year. We've had our biggest year yet. We birthed the American Contractor Show, which in all reality was because of COVID. We were doing the daily show every day during COVID, and that morphed into the American Contractor Show, which is a huge win for us. And we've gone from being like where we were using like an outside media company for a bunch of stuff to where now we're pretty self-sustained. Like, we have all of our own equipment, our own people, our own editors, and like this is its own thing. It's a brand that we basically birthed from nothing about 6 months ago into like something that's doing pretty well. And so that's been a huge win. But for me, like, I feel like Randy, Nick, we're kind of like watching as these businesses progress. And like, I look at guys like Aaron Christie, Indie Roof Company. He's on his second year of business and he's 7 figures. How does that work? This guy came out of nowhere, no background in roofing, didn't grow up in the industry, started his company 2 years ago, goes into 2020 and gets a little storm that hits Indianapolis. And because of what I think is actually like his strength is that he's not weighed down by like old habits and like, bad market, the old school marketing stuff. 100%. He went into it, jumped all over Facebook, put out ads. As the hail's like falling, he's getting photos of it, throwing up ads on Facebook, and just explodes his company, builds his team, has an amazing culture, 17 sales reps, like in his second year of business, gonna break $10 million. And to me, like, building with cash, like, he's scaling his company like insane. And you look at that and it's like, what's the story there? Like, what's going on? And it's because, 2020 is a year of opportunity. I think it's not been said enough. Like, we keep thinking it's this awful, terrible thing. The media is telling us it's this awful, horrible thing. But let's look at what really is going on in 2020. Things are shifting. Behaviors are changing. It's like think of the cars when cars became a thing. People. I mean, they were slow. They were awful. They were terrible, right? But no one thought that a horse would ever be, or that a car could ever beat a horse. But that's the mentality right now. Like, as 2020 progresses, this shift happened. Something changed in the way consumers do things, the way that their attention went. Everything changed, and all of a sudden, where it used to be like novelty to do Facebook ads and do all this stuff, now it's like this massive opportunity that people can jump all over, and the ones that took advantage of it are seeing huge results. And that to me is so cool. And you can look at 2020 as this big awful thing if that's how you choose to look at it. But when you see all the cool things that are going on in 2020, it's like, oh my God, like there's so much opportunity right now, like never before. And there's this like little window that's going on right now. And it's going to give people that are savvy enough to see it and to get involved and to like grow through this time a ton of, and it's not over. Like you haven't missed the boat. If 2020 wasn't a great year for you, it's okay. It's not over. There's still good news. Like, you can still learn and get, savvy enough to figure out what's going on and where consumer behaviors are going. But what we call the new normal, I know it's a stupid phrase and everyone hates it, but it's the truth. Like, I don't think we're ever going to go back to what life was like before COVID.
No. I mean, no, not 9 months is too long of a time, right? For people to change their behavior, how they interact with businesses, how they do shopping, how they buy services, products, whatever it might be. 9 months is just too long, right? You're going to adapt,
I agree.
and things have gotten easier for consumers in some ways. So, but you're completely right, though. At the same time, John, is if you haven't adapted, right? If you've been kind of waiting, in quote, for COVID to pass, you can still jump on and start to learn some of these new techniques of how to run your company, how to interact with your customers, right? And the success story that is shared was awesome, right? Now, I mean, Randy, if you want, we can start with you. I mean, how have you guys actually adapted as a roofing company? And I want to kind of dive into some ways that roofing companies have adapted and found success in 2020 when it's been weird.
Well, let me just elaborate a little bit on kind of what John was talking about a minute ago when, from a big picture perspective, when the economy has downturns or our world changes dramatically. I mean, go back to the Great Recession and even generations before us, Great Depression, out of those type of situations, out of 2020, COVID, all the things, create immense opportunity. Like you just said, there's so many opportunities that come when these quote unquote, and in the business world, what John was just referring to is what we call a paradigm shift. And there's a shift happening in the way business is conducted, not only in our industry, but in a ton of industries. And what that does is kind of wipes the slate clean. And those of us who are able to adapt, able to learn, able to grow, and able to jump out ahead of all the new things that are happening in our world and in our business, that's going to create the opportunity for those to excel and for young, so new entrepreneurs to be very successful in a very short period of time. So right now there's no better time to become an entrepreneur. There's no better time to start a business. There's no better time to dive into the roofing industry than there is right now. I mean, there's so many opportunities out there with technology and efficiencies and virtual, paperless companies and all the things that you can do in roofing. It's incredible. I'm just excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to see, what the future brings. Now, when it comes to as many of you know, I do.
I want to touch on that though. Beautiful time to take big risks on yourself, right? Beautiful time to everything's risky, kind of, right? Beautiful time to take a risk on yourself. All right, go ahead, Randy.
Yeah. So when it comes to our company, luckily we had the foresight, as a younger, more forward-thinking company, we had the foresight to go paperless years ago. We were already paperless. We were already, sure, we had an office, 12 people working every day in the office full time, big 6,000 square foot office, the whole 9 yards. And COVID hit, we got shut down. We were able to make that adjustment within half a day. Literally made the call Monday morning, came into work, and you were like, you know what? We're just going to jump out ahead of this. Everybody pack up your desk, go home. We're going to be up and running. Take a day and a half, and we're going to shift. We're going to be up and running virtually, because we had the foresight 2-3 years ago to start the process of becoming paperless, to work with, you know, our technology partners and the CRM systems and all the things that allow us to do that. It was a seamless transition, and it happened twice throughout the year. Like right now, we're all working remotely. It just is what it is. But we didn't miss a beat. So, you know, yeah, overall, like with COVID and with the market itself in our local market not having any sort of major hailstorms or any storms at all, you're going to see a hit in your revenue when you have a roofing model that's in a market with a lot of storms. However, we were able to adapt and gain a significant amount of market share because of what we were able to do and shift to virtual and shift from insurance to retail, ad service, grow commercial, and diversify our business. Which what that did, sure, we're gonna take a little bit of a downturn on our revenue, but what that did is build our foundation so solid that no matter what happens next year, we're gonna be able to scale our business.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I mean, the no storm thing, along with COVID in Denver, obviously you're in Colorado, not ideal. If you guys want to check out a place though that did get hit with some hail, man, you know, I don't know if you guys know Ryan Chance with Sumo Quote. He's got a roofing company, Epic Roofing and Exteriors, out in Calgary, Colorado, or Calgary, Canada. Go check out their storm. Go Google it. Go check out some of the pictures there. Holy moly, they got hit. So
and they're not used to that either. That's what's crazy about that.
Isn't that wild? I mean, man, they got baseballs over there. It looked like it snowed over there. It is pretty unbelievable. But so, all right. Well, what were some of the lessons that we learned then in 2020 for roofing companies? You know, some things that I think that we could kind of build off of. And John, you know, we'll start with you too. I mean, you're working with contractors all over the country. You know, and you're hearing their problems. You're talking to them. You know, more than just with the services you provide. I feel like you're building some genuine relationships. What do you think are some things that the contractors learned this year that they can kind of build off for next year?
Man, I think this year was the year of changing the way that conventionally you got to market. So many contractors were so used, and the other thing is too is understanding like trends and how to like go counter trend. You know, like for example, we started the Daily Show during like in the midst of COVID, like everyone's chilling and having like vacation there for like that 2-week shutdown or whatever when it first started. And we were like grinding. I mean, we did 40 of those every day. So it was 5 or 8 weeks of that, 5 days a week. And that was like, to me, that was a huge lesson to like, okay, while everyone's sleeping, like go and work, like find those opportunities, read the trends, read what people are doing, read what the industry is doing, what are the people doing? Like, so everyone backs off of door knocking. Okay, so maybe we should like maybe try door knocking. Because I was hearing like awesome success stories of door knocking during COVID. Yep. And then I heard other stories where they were like, you know, it's a little, you got to do a little differently, paperless, and and that stuff's good. But being like able to adapt quickly was what I think was the biggest lesson of COVID. Like how test for your business. Like how does your business react? How did things work? Like your processes just went through a massive strain. Like, how did they come out on the other side? And that's the lesson. Like, what is the condition? Like, now is the time to go back and evaluate what's happened over the last 9 months. Did you guys just like completely go into shutdown mode? Did you go out and do other stuff? And I feel like that's the biggest lesson right now: adaptability and figuring out what's going to work. And it's the test of your actual skills as a contractor and as an entrepreneur.
You mentioned something too about people slowing down, right? So I think when the world starts to kind of slow down and bring it in a little bit, I think it's a great opportunity for you to become sharper, right? And work on your skills as a leader, because there's going to be a lot of opportunity there where people are slowing down and kind of shutting it down almost in a way where it's like, man, if I could just attack and sharpen my skill sets, there's going to be a lot of opportunity there for me to.
Well, then think about who was slowing down. The typical slowing down was someone that probably had been in business for 20 years, has you know been established. They're not like super stressed about it. They're just basically like, oh well, we're gonna go through this little thing, and so they kind of slept on it, thinking we're going to weather the storm, right? That was kind of the term that people were using. Like, let's just get through COVID and then let's come out on the other side. Hopefully we're okay. And at the end of the day, it's like they're so far behind now. And that's given so much opportunity to like Indie Roof Company and some of these, like there's another one in Indy, Gladiator Roofing. They're another newcomer that's going to get close to 7 figures, and I think their second year as well. And I'm watching these guys, and it's like, dude, like what is going on and what's happening? And it's this major shift in market share in our market, and I'm sure it's happening in every market right now, where the ones that are like the established names that have been around for 10, 15, 20, 30 years that are like the big names, all of a sudden they're kind of like losing a lot of their momentum in what they're doing.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Yeah, that's a great point.
I think we're seeing that in our market. We're seeing that in markets across the country. You know, we bought a 38-year-old company 3 years ago. You know, they were you know, hollowed out, but they had that long-standing, you know, long-standing history and name in our industry, and everyone knew who they were, and now we just own the brand, and it's like getting residuals off it. But it's I think that's gonna.
Do you think that? Let me ask you this, Randy. Like 2 years ago, when you guys did that transaction, that was probably looked at as a like, you know, we put so much weight and value on those established brands. Do you think that those brands still hold the same weight and value in a post-COVID you know, economy?
If you're not pushing the envelope and trying to adapt and overcome, they're because the consumer is changing. The consumer is changing. We're in the information age. You know, half the time you show up to a sale and the homeowner knows more about roofing than your salesperson does. You know, they can go online and find anything they need to find. I mean, if you haven't noticed, a million channels and podcasts and all the things that we're doing right now, putting this information out there and sharing, consumers can see that as well. You know, consumers are way more educated than they were before. Back in the day, that name, you know, they had the magnet on the refrigerator. They had the yellow pages marked off. They grabbed it and they knew where to go. The big advertisement was a big long-standing history of the company. Now, a simple Google search, the company that's has the best brand on Google and that has the best reputation, here they are. They could have been around 2 years, not 30 years. So I think it's kind of leveled the playing field, really. It's kind of, you know, leveled it out. However, in our particular case, we to this day still get calls from people that have been working with that company for 30 years.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. There's value there. You know, and that's awesome. You got these customers that you guys have roofed my house 3 times and can you come do it again or what? That's fantastic, right? We don't want to get away from that. And I think, you know, this new school roofing, don't discredit what the old companies did, because there's still value there. You just want to add on to it, your new style. But I still to this day am, you know, I have a mentality, and I think people get away from this because of the age of door knocking and the instant gratification. But, you know, you can just knock on someone's door. Hey, you got damage. Good. Sign a contract and move on. Right. I still believe that I want to instill a culture within our company and provide a customer experience where we can create customers for life.
That's cool.
With that old company. And that's our goal, is when somebody buys a roof and we provide a service for them, I want them to be a customer for life. You know, it obviously it's not going to happen all the time, but if we can all, as an entire organization, have that mentality of going above and beyond and making sure that their experience with our roofing company is unlike any other experience they can get from a roofing company, that's how you build customers for life.
That's the raving fan culture.
Absolutely.
Yep. I completely agree with that. And I like that you mentioned that, John, that these younger companies are the ones that tend to be thriving with it, while these older companies, you know, maybe they didn't adapt it as much. Because I noticed on the marketing side, you know, I have the marketing company. We got canned from somebody that we were working with for a long time. That was in business for 20 years. That Monday, the first Monday lockdown, and they said, "Hey, we'll be back once you know, this passes by." But we grew a lot because younger companies, you know, more agile companies reached out to us consistently as soon as that hit, looking for help digitally. Now, what do you think that is? Do you think that these older companies, do they struggle to kind of adapt to because they're complacent, or what's the mindset there that's holding them back?
I think they were stuck in their ways, and they're just like, basically it's harder for them to adapt, especially to stuff like this, and to see what this really means. Because first off, nobody knew what COVID was going to be. COVID was not, there's no playbook for how to handle a worldwide pandemic that shuts down the economy for several weeks. All right. So nobody really knew. And I think those companies, number one, could afford to chill out for a little bit and just weather the storm per se, or see what happens. And so they've been a little bit slower because they're reacting now. After they've seen the lay of the land, they got a feel for it. Now they're comfortable. Okay, let's dive in. Whereas the young guys that are newer, that understand digital marketing and how valuable it really is and how it can really cut through a pandemic issue, because that's really what digital marketing can do, right? Like all of a sudden now we don't have an issue purchasing things online. Like I can go on Amazon and everywhere else and buy. I mean, heck, I get my Topo Chicos sent to me from Amazon Prime. Okay. Yeah. Or Prime Now sends them to our house and to the office and everywhere else. I mean, we use all these technologies all the time. But if you're in you're 50, 60, 70 years old and you don't use this stuff all the time, it's hard for you to buy into it because you're used to the face-to-face transaction, which isn't the same anymore. Now everything's digital, everything's virtual. And I think that we're going to keep seeing that multiply, and you're going to, as the younger generations take advantage of it, it's going to just trickle up to the other generations, and this is going to become the new norm. And so now that they're seeing that that's the reality, they're starting to adapt. Now you'll probably get those customers back shortly because they're going to have to come back. They can't afford to stay on the sidelines for much longer.
I think what you're right though is they had the cash there to hold it. You know what I mean? Like they could afford to wait and check it out. These new people, I mean, dude, you don't have you gotta stay on offense, right?
Yep.
I think that the modern entrepreneurship in general is always looking for those opportunities to leverage wherever they can and adapt however they can. And the younger, more aggressive entrepreneurial person is going to see this and double down. Whereas someone who's been a little bit more set in their ways and not necessarily like a lot more cautious and not as entrepreneurial, they're going to just wait, let me just see what's going on before I make a decision. Whereas the younger, more aggressive entrepreneur is like, I'm going to double down. Like I'm going to double my marketing. I'm going to go knock doors. I'm going to do whatever I can to double my business. And it's fantastic.
I think it's an evolution of the industry at the end of the day. That's what it is. Like our industry is evolving. It's becoming smarter. It's becoming more agile, more professional, more polished. I mean, dude, like I'm fourth generation. Like my grandfather, I mean, I was watching, we were talking about this the other day, but I was, watching a bunch of like hardcore like roofers on YouTube, and I'm like watching these guys, and they're out, they're drinking on the roof, like they're just working, and they're doing like the stereotypical like what you think of when you think of a roofer, the chuck in a truck kind of guys. And I roofed with guys like that. I mean, when I was 16, like my boss gave us a watermelon to share for lunch. I kid you not. I'm like 16 years old in the middle of summer on the roof. He shows up. He's like, "Here's lunch," and he gives us a watermelon. Okay. And I'm like, "What are we doing with this?" So, anyways, but we're spitting seeds everywhere. Like it was insane. But I look at the generations before us, and that's what it is. But now the new breed is coming up, and it's forcing them to become. They're becoming the more established companies a lot faster because technology just makes everything faster. I mean, you can go from 0 to 100 10 times faster than you could, 20 years ago, 40 years ago. And those guys were installers and doing stuff. Like now these guys that are coming in are business people. They're seeing the opportunity. They're like, hey, he saw the opportunity. He's like, this is an industry that needs someone like me that I can come in and build a business, and all of a sudden I'm scaling to 7 figures. And that's what we're seeing a lot more of, is those kind of people coming in, which forces hopefully the rest of the industry to elevate their mindset and their game as well to that level of, hey, we need to make this thing legit. And that's going to solve so many problems for our industry in the long run. But we've seen it you can see it in HVAC, you can see it in electrical, you can see it in home builders. Like these guys are not, our industry is kind of a little bit behind on some of this stuff, but we're starting to get there. But all these industries are consolidating. They're becoming more professional. They're becoming more organized, which is forcing us to build the processes and the systems and to take advantage of technology and all these things. And that's the only way that you can survive. And the cool thing is, though, so many of these companies are already established. Like Randy, you bought this company that's established. That's a great foundation. You guys can build roofs like nobody's business. You guys can do all these things. Now it's like, okay, let's plug in like the other part of this, the business part of this. And you said it earlier too, Randy. Like you can go on YouTube and learn anything.
Yeah, and well, and then just you just open the door of coaching, consulting, virtual training.
Yep.
You know, someone can literally partner with the academy, spend the time, do the work, and build the infrastructure of a multi-million-dollar company in a very short period of time.
And what someone would learn at your academy is so much more valuable than what you can learn in a university or a college.
100%.
Yeah.
The generation.
100%.
I'm a third generation contractor, right?
Yep.
And what it took my grandfather 20, 30 years to build, we can now do that in a matter of 24 months. And and that's literally what I help people do. And it's crazy where that age of technology and the we're in the knowledge age, right? We're moving past the technology. This is the age of knowledge and shared knowledge. And the way to get ahead and to be successful in life is to gain as much knowledge as you can as quickly as you can. And there's no better way to do that than to find someone who knows what you want to know, who's done what you want to do, and who has accomplished what you want to accomplish, and learn from that person. Whereas the old school mentality was like, let's keep everything under our own vest. And if what we learn, we're not sharing. It's all about competitive advantage. And, I'm not telling somebody what I'm doing, and I'm not sharing what I'm doing. And these companies just creep along.
Oh, yeah.
They're not learning from each other. They're not sharing information and pushing and driving each other to push their capacity and learn more and step outside their comfort zone. And I think that whole mentality is just forcing a lot of our industry to catch up real quick. And
who can you thank for that? Who can you thank for that? Millennials, dude. The millennials get all the hate, right? But you gotta look at Michael Jordan. The Michael Jordan versus LeBron James mindset, right? The competition versus the collaboration, right? Both mindsets can win, but it's all about the collaboration now, baby. The millennials are changing the game, so I appreciate the layup there for the millennials.
I love the millennial aspect, but I'm from Chicago originally, so I'm an MJ boy through and through. So
is Randy. I don't want to hear it. I get it. We got 4 rings, and we got more coming. So I'll talk to you guys in a few years.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna give a shout out to our sponsors. Then after that, we're gonna dive into 2021. These big things are ahead of us. We're gonna start out with our friends at Job Nimbus.
Job Nimbus is a fully customizable back office solution.
Track leads, jobs, tasks from one easy-to-use software.
And with the largest ecosystem of integrated partners, if we don't do it, we have a friend who does.
Learn how the #1 back office system in roofing
can help you be efficient, be organized, be professional, and be profitable.
Look at that. Look at that.
That's awesome.
If you guys somehow have not checked out Job Nimbus and you're listening to the show, which I don't know if that's even possible at this point, but go to info.jobnimbus.com/roofing-academy. We love Job Nimbus. They are doing amazing things in the space. And then, of course, we got, I mentioned it before, Ryan's chance with Sumo Quote. Randy, what's going on with Sumo Quote, my friend?
Sumo Quote is another technology advancement that we're talking about today. If you want to advance your game and step your game up from a estimating standpoint, you got to get the right tool to do that. And Sumo Quote is the right tool to help you estimate from a insurance and a retail perspective and switch back and forth and change the game. Check out Sumo Quote right away.
Yeah. He's changing the game for sure. So go to try.sumoquote.com/start, build, grow. And last but not least, the best part about this commercial, this ad, is Randy still found a way to get some face time.
If you're in the hail game, if you're working hail claims and selling roofs that have hail damage, you need to know where the hail is, how big the hail is, and when it hailed. I mean, if you're on the fence, it's a game changer.
Yeah, Hail Trace is awesome. I mean, we use it, for our marketing company all the time. We pull the data whenever a storm hits, and we're able to send text, emails, you name it, so you can be in front of the game and maximizing those opportunities. The people who work there are great. They got a new office, great culture, very involved on social media, of course. So check out hailtrace.com.
They're awesome. It's so
Is
nice,
it? Have you
dude.
checked out the new one or what?
Yeah, I was at the new one. I was there for the grand opening. It was so nice.
Do you have some video content that some people should check out too then, or what?
We did. We went Facebook Live on it during their grand
Nice.
opening just for fun.
So-
but yeah, I don't know where that video is at. It's somewhere.
So if you guys for some reason are not checking out the American Contractor Show on Facebook, I mean, I'm sure you are at this point. Make sure you're checking them out. And now we were talking about staying ahead of the game, right? And making sure that, you know, a lot of stuff in the roofing space, you learn a lot from these events, right? These conferences. That's where the money is made. You're networking. You're seeing all these new opportunities, technology, all that stuff. That's on lockdown for a lot of this, right? There's not as many going on. So tell us about your idea. What's going on in January?
So we had this idea a few months ago, and then we got together in Breck. It was Randy and a whole bunch of other guys that we were all hanging out, and we were talking about it. And you guys were all really the catalyst for this, I would say, because this was something that I wanted to do, but we weren't really ready for it. And now with, you know, our capabilities, we are. But I wanted to do something different in that I want to help. Conferences are awesome. I love conferences. I love conventions. I love when we go to these industry events and get to hang out with people and do all this stuff. But looking at it from the contractor's perspective for a second, you know, we see a lot of the same guys at most of these conferences, and they're awesome, great people, and they're going there to learn. They know the value of it. That's why they go to all these conferences. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, I know that I look at the ticket prices. It's expensive, the flights, the hotels, everything else that goes into it. The content is amazing, but it's hard sometimes for people to wrap their head around spending $10, $15, $20, $30,000 to go to an event, you know, by the time it's all said and done. And so, especially if you're going to take your team or take several people, it's going to be expensive. Exactly. And so I was like, you know, I'd love to do something virtual, but not cheesy virtual. And, you know, I didn't want to do like a webinar or like a Zoom call. And so I was like, you know, what can we do that would be like extremely high value, high production value, content would be on point, and get some of the best people in our industry. I'm not trying to pull people from outside. I'm trying to get the best minds that we have in our industry, some of the best contractors, some of the best coaches, and you know, the people that have tons of value to give, and give our industry something really unique and special that's affordable and just awesome, off the charts. And so we came up with the American Contractor Summit, and we decided to pull this out as quick as we could. And we, you know, Randy's a big part of it. He's going to be at the event. I know, Nick, you've been working on it too behind the scenes. You know, there's a whole bunch of other guys. Jonathan Sherwood, we talked about him a while ago. Jim Johnson, Chuck Doki, Nathan Thibodeau, Hunter Ballou, Paul Reed. Who else we got on this thing? There's a whole bunch. Graham Desert. I mean, the list, it's like 12. We got 12 keynote speakers. We've got a Women Changing the Industry panel. We've got a 7-figure contractor panel going on. And we wanted to put all this together, and I want to broadcast it, though. And so what we did was we rented a stage, took a video there at the stage last week. We just put it out. But we rented a stage. It's a production, state-of-the-art stage with lighting, the whole 9 yards. We've got all of our graphics guys working on graphics for the entire event. And, you know, we're going to actually have this over 2 days. So 6 speakers per day, 1 panel per day. And we're going to do it on Facebook Live through the Facebook events portal, which is super easy to use. You don't have to download anything crazy. And it's only $100. $99 gets you access to the entire event for both days. And what's also cool is if you miss a session, you can go back and watch it before, or watch it, you know, go back and watch one of the ones that happened or whatever, you know, rewatch stuff, and you'll have access to it after as well. And I wanted to make it to where, like, look, if you want to get your team together, get in your conference room, sit down and do this, and really reach some of the contractors that, look, they want to scale, they're ready to go, they just need that little piece of knowledge, whatever it is, they can get it from this event. And we got Troy Clymer talking accounting and CFO and how to scale. He's a CFO of Balance. He's phenomenal. You guys are going to be awesome with him. And then we got Joseph Hughes, Stan Bastick, the VP of Sales for Atlas, Jonathan Sherwood, Graham Desert, Dale Childress, Paul Reed. It's insane. Like, the lineup is going to be awesome. And we'll also be able to help you guys out in the comments and the chats, get you guys hooked up with some of the best information that will help your business scale. And that's what we wanted to put together. And we want to make it easy. It's only $99. It's all on Facebook. And that's where most of our audience lives already as it is. You guys can hop on and watch this stuff, be a part of it, be in the ecosystem. Don't have to go off and do it somewhere else. It's all right there. You go back and rewatch it. And we want to make this something that is not something that we're just going to do like once a year. We want to do this as often as we can, but the first one is coming up. It's only like 3 weeks away. And so far, we've had like 1,000 people express interest in the event or buy tickets already. And so it's growing tremendously. It's really something that we want to get everyone involved in. I want to get as many people there that want to grow their business. And I know that there's so many contractors that you guys have seen or heard of these events, not understood the value of it, or wanted to go and just not been able to go. This is like the most easiest no-brainer in our industry right now. For $100, you're going to get to hear from some of the top industry leaders that know this stuff inside and out. And not only that, but I want to the whole theme of the conference is the shift that's happening right now, the shift in our economy, the shift in consumers' behaviors, the opportunity that exists right now. That's what I really want to focus in on and hone in on during this conference, is how you can take advantage of this massive shift in our economy right now. And so we're going to definitely talk a lot about that during the event, along with commercial sales, accounting, marketing, sales, residential sales, all the production, everything that you need, culture, recruiting. There's going to be so many things covered, and there's no better way that I know of to actually like give your team that catalyst, that igniter that they need for the year than to go to an event like this. And this is going to be an event. Like everything that we do here is going to be top notch. It's going to be amazing. Like the quality is going to be there. You guys will be able to experience what it's like to be at an event through the screen virtually, which is super cool too. So I hope everyone gets to be a part of that. I hope everyone takes advantage of it, because this is a no-brainer. So.
And this isn't Zoom, right? This is Randy. You're going out to Indy, right?
So the inspiration here, for those of you who've been to church during the pandemic, we attended church that's, they broadcast all over the world, at Flatirons, and they do an incredible like production job. I know John, we're doing it. That's where he got the inspiration here, is like from a church production that's having to, project out on Facebook all over the world. So that's what we're doing. Like he's setting up a stage. We're all there in person, filming multiple angles experience. It's going to be a great like technology, technological experience. That's unlike just somebody sitting in front of a Zoom that we're also probably burnt down on by this time throughout the year. So it's going to be a little bit weird walking around on stage talking to a camera, but outside of that,
talking
man,
to several cameras,
cameras, right? So outside of that, man, I think that the John's vision for this is I know I've talked to you a lot about this, sitting in a hot tub, in Breckenridge, and I'm excited to be a part of it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm grateful to be be considered as one of the people that you wanted to have a part of this, and as a show, the Academy, as well as the Start Build Grow show. We're honored to be a part. We're honored to share it, and we're excited to be there. Yeah, and yes, I am flying out. I'll be in Indianapolis and live in person, not so live in person, but live in person with the rest of the speakers.
That's going to be the best part, I think. So.
Absolutely. I mean, and you guys' level of production is always incredible, so it'll be great for sure. And okay, so we want to talk about growing. We're kind of coming to a close here, but we want to talk about growing in 2021. How can people plan for growth, right? If you want to get somewhere, you got to plan. All right. So Rance, we'll start with you, and then we'll go with you, John. So Rance, what can people do to kind of plan strategically for 2021 and make sure that they're finding success and growing their company?
I love that you mentioned this, because I'm kind of leaning towards this being a topic for what I talk about during at the conference here, is strategic planning. That's been, I think, a key for our growth, for all the companies that I work with, my own company, as well as the Academy. Like, you got to have a plan. You got to actually cast a vision and set goals and figure out, what does Stephen Covey say? Begin with the end in mind. Right? What is your end goal? And it can be long-term, it can be short-term, but we're talking about short-term, 1 year. What do you want to accomplish as a company, as an individual in 1 year? And then from there, you want to reverse engineer that to figure out exactly using numbers, understanding your numbers, you got to figure out exactly what the infrastructure you need to have in your business to accomplish that goal and to go to work. So if you want to build a $2 million company, you got to understand how many leads, how many opportunities, how many salespeople, what's my production looking like, what's my back office look like, and figure those things out and figure out what you have and figure out what you need and start plugging those gaps and filling those holes and creating process for each one of those in order to reach that goal. Whether it's 1, 2, 10, 20 million, 5, whatever your goal is, set that goal and use numbers to figure out exactly what it's going to take to map out that goal. And you can give yourself literally a weekly game plan, all the way down to the number of, if you're knocking doors, the number of doors I got to knock every week in order to stay on track to reach my $3 million goal, the number of opportunities I need, the number of sales presentations, the number of estimates if you're doing retail. And then you figure out, what my average gross sales is per salesperson. And that's going to help you determine how many salespeople you need. So if you're trying to grow, you don't want to just throw spaghetti at a wall and hope that it works. Actually take the time, look at numbers, put a plan in place, and figure out exactly how to map out what that growth looks like. And you will be able to achieve it. And you're going to be able to know exactly where you are at any given time from a financial perspective and from a human perspective. That's how you got to do it. This throwing crap against the wall and just hiring people hoping that you're just going to figure it out. It doesn't work that way. You got to have a plan. You got to be able to execute that plan. So if anybody who wants to talk more about that, that's all I do this time of year is help build plans and implement strategic planning. So I'm all ears. If you'd like to get on a call, I'd love to chat with you about it and help you build a strategic plan to crush 2021.
I love it, Rans. I love it. It's all about that strategic plan. Got to have a plan. Have a plan, do the plan.
Yep.
John, what about you, my friend?
Okay, 2021, guys. This is the year of opportunity. If you are serious, like seriously wanting to grow your business, are ready to move forward, are looking for that opening per se in the market, this is that moment. Okay, this is the opportunity that you have been waiting for. You may have been waiting 8 years for it, the next recession, the next chance to get in at the right time to where you can actually be super impactful and do things like that weren't able to be done 4 or 5 years ago and have an advantage real quickly. This is the time when you can do that. If you are serious about it, this is the time for you to learn. If you are serious, start to grow right now. Start to connect with people like Randy. Learn from him. Start to enroll in in that system and start to get those processes in place. Start to actually go through this whole system so that you can become that and you can take advantage of that opportunity that's right in front of you. Go to the summit, go to an event, go travel, go do whatever you got to do. Gain knowledge right now. This is your opportunity. And if you're not doing that, if you're just sitting back waiting and you really truly want to grow, then you really don't want to grow. You're kidding yourself. You're really not in that position yet. You have to really over the next few days during Christmas when everyone really truly does shut down for a little bit, do some self-searching. Ask yourself, what do you want to be in 2021? Do you want to be? What does that look like? If you had everything going the way that you would dream it could go, what does that look like? And make that a reality in 2021. Are you truly prepared for it? Are you really ready to grow? Are you really ready to take that opportunity? Does that scare you? I mean, for some people, that's why they haven't grown. Maybe they're scared. They just don't know how to take that next step. Start taking baby steps, one step at a time. Start to grow. Go to the summit. Connect with a coach. Get someone in your team that can help you on your side, that can help you scale and see what you can't see. We know what we don't know. We're not smart enough to know what we don't know. I think that's a big thing that people need to understand. We have to have some real clear self-realization of who we are as people and understand okay, this is the perspective. What don't I know? Because we don't even know what we don't know. What do I want to know? How do I want to know it? Who do I want to be like? What do I want to emulate? And start to really define that stuff and clarify it and start taking steps to work towards that. And I think getting with someone like Randy Brothers is a phenomenal choice. If you're watching this show, that means that you connect with Randy in some way, shape, or form. Okay, you like the style, you like the way he does things, and that's what you have to have when you have a coach. You got to have someone that you respect and that you like. That's what it's all about. It's like, I would say, like, picking a coach is like picking a church. We all have churches that we connect with, and there's churches that we don't connect with. We're like, well, I don't vibe with that, but I vibe with this, and you got to find what that is for you. You're watching this show because you vibe with Randy. I mean, that's just the reality of it. You should look into that and talk to him and figure out what you can do to connect with him and start to just take those steps. This is the opportunity. This is the moment. Don't squander it. Don't wait, because in 2 years you'll look back and you'll think, man, that was like the time where I could have just exploded. And everyone like Aaron Christie, who's in here right now in the comments talking right now, who's just blowing his company up in the midst of COVID, is just like sitting there thinking, dude, I mean, he's living a dream right now, I'm sure. Like, I'm sure he's looking back at 2020 and thinking, how in the world did I get from here to here? And he's there. And now he's going back and yeah, sure, he took advantage of the opportunity. Now he's connecting with the coach and he's doing all the things that he needs to do to start to structure his business. He's building. Dude, this dude is building like this massive building and paying cash for it in his second year in business. Like, it's insane. And he's like, we were just talking today. In fact, I need to call you after this because I forgot I had something pending I need to talk to you about. But at the end of the day, like, this dude is like doing everything the right way as far as like growing a business, while everyone's probably thinking, how in the world does he have that much sales without the structure or without all the processes in place or all the little pieces in place? He's figuring it out because he's learning. He's one of the most astute people that I've noticed and one of the most observant people that I've ever met. He's constantly learning, constantly picking things up. He's watching this show. I met him at my boot camp. He came to one of my boot camps in Ohio. That's how I met Aaron. And, he's always been, keeping track of things and talking to people and talking to Hunter and went to RoofCon and went to all these different things. And it's like, Aaron's in the midst of it because he wants to grow and the results are there.
Yeah.
Like, proof's in the pudding, Brandon.
That's exactly
That's all it is.
what I did, man. That's exactly the process. Is you got to immerse yourself. And what is the old saying? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Find room full of people. Find circles full of people that have the knowledge that you want to gain, and you will expedite your growth substantially. That's the same mentality I was blessed to learn early on through mentorship and business school and all these things, and carry that on throughout my entire career. Now I'm blessed to be able to teach people that, and Aaron's a prime example of that. And he's, executing on an exponential level above and beyond some of us who've been doing it a long time that didn't have the resources that you have right now to grow your business.
So, man, you guys have such a massive advantage. It's insane. It's such a huge advantage. So I'm really excited about next year. So it's gonna be
John,
fun.
that was really well said. I think that was pretty much your gold nugget, man. Go out and do it. So usually I ask that question.
Go to the summit.
Go to the summit, right? The American
Go to the
Contractor
summit,
Summit,
man.
right? So how can they get tickets for the summit?
So it's crazy, but we did it all on Facebook. So you literally just go. Okay, by the way, do not buy tickets from anyone that comments and says, message me for tickets. They are scamming people right now. We found out last night and we got them on video. So we called them on Facebook Messenger and my wife talked to them. So there's some scammer from somewhere trying to scam people into buying, into sending them cash so that they can get tickets to the American Contractor Summit. Don't do that. If you go to the Facebook page for the event, I'll put the link in the comments here. You just go to that event page and there is literally a button you hit that says purchase and you buy it right there on Facebook. It's all handled through Facebook. We don't even get the money, I think, till after the event. So it's just like going to sit somewhere. So, I mean, all that stuff's right there on Facebook. You guys can do the entire purchase, get all your tickets, sign up. And then as soon as you do that, you'll have access to the event through the actual Facebook event page. So I'll drop that link, though.
Perfect, man. It's going to be a great event. I know, Randy, you're flying out for that. So, yeah, guys, check it out, the American Contractor Summit on Facebook. All right. And if you guys are on the podcast and you're having any kind of issues checking it out for any reason, the URL is AmericanContractorSummit.com. And if you go to that website, you can just click on the tickets button, and that's going to take you right back to Facebook. So, either way, it's going to work just fine. All right. So, John, we always appreciate you having in. But, Randy, my friend, dude, let's Randy, I want you to close it out for 2020 because this is the last episode of 2020, the weirdest year that anybody's ever had, right? close her out, man, because we're done after this, and we're gonna see everybody in 2021.
Man, that's a lot of pressure, man. John's been on a
Amen.
roll. This whole show has been a golden nugget, and we talked a lot about planning and having a plan, you know, and what say if you don't have a plan, you're just planning to fail, right? You know, but here's how I want to wrap it up. And John said you got to invest in yourself. You got to look into how you can grow as an individual. But most of us watching are entrepreneurs. We all have big dreams. We all have big visions. We all want to grow our businesses, grow ourselves, grow things. But here's a reality of it is none of that is possible if you don't embrace leadership. You're never going to grow a successful, high growth organization that contributes to the economy, that contributes to the industry, that contributes to other people's lives if it's not ran through great leadership. So if there's anything you can take away, if there's anything you can invest right now, is do a deep dive on yourself as a leader. Don't forget that. We can talk numbers, we can go knock doors, we can hustle, we can hire people, we can blow our businesses up. But if you don't embrace yourself as a fiduciary, as a leader, as a CEO, as the person responsible for other people's lives and other people's livelihood, and find ways to increase yourself as a leader, you're doing it the wrong way. Everything, you know, listen to John Maxwell, everything rises and falls on leadership. Invest in yourself. Be the best leader, grow as a leader, and then figure out how to create other leaders. That's the key to success in 2021.
Absolutely. Well, guys, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody. We're extremely thankful for all
Great
of you
year,
guys. And it's such a great industry. We really do appreciate being part of it. And to close it out 2020, what an honor to be closing out with some of two of my favorite people in the industry that are constantly making an impact and giving back to others. John, thanks for joining us. Randy, thanks for always, hosting it with me as well.
God bless.
Hey, thank
Take
you
care,
guys.
everyone.
Congrats to you guys. This has been an amazing year for you guys. 50 some episodes. Congratulations. This is awesome. I appreciate you guys so much. And I know the industry loves it. That's it. 2021. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you, everybody.